This is New Warriors Classic, Volume 3. Now, I was just checking the date on the inside cover. This was printed in 2011. I think I got this within the last 2 years. I've been sort of on a nostalgic kick for a while. Purchasing collected X-Men, Spider-Man, and New Warriors from the 90s that I was reading as a kid. Rereading all of it and seeing if my memories are correct, if the stuff was actually good back then, if I still enjoy it. Also related, I think, is my introduction to Hasbro's Marvel Legends. So they've been slowly trickling out New Warriors figures, but I've got built up a decent Spider-Man collection and X-Force as well, which is just reorganized yesterday. I should probably take a picture of some of my shelves. But anyway, let's talk about this book. It is issues 11 through 17, plus 2 issues of the Avengers that Nyciza also wrote that feature Rage. Rage will later join the New Warriors team. So I was just talking about how this was published in 2011, but there's another date on the inside cover that says 1991. For me, there's a limit to how far back in comics histories I can read. I have a very low tolerance for aged writing, and this is, I'm just going to show you, this is page 2 of the book. So you've got an alternate version of the Avengers here, and at the bottom of this page you've got Vance speaking all of their names out loud. Now, you do, funnily enough, get Firestar calling him out on it on the very next panel, but you still, there's a lot of this style of writing where characters are just speaking the story, conveying information to the reader in an obvious way that I don't have a tolerance for anymore. I was 10 or 11 when I was reading this originally. I thought it was fine, but tastes have changed. Because I read this originally, I'm sort of able to put myself back into that mindset of nostalgia, of, you know, this being from an earlier time, and I'm still able to enjoy it. It's just, if I were to read something that I didn't have that level of nostalgia for, if I tried to read something from even the 80s, I probably couldn't do it. I've tried. It's never worked. The other thing I should mention is this, I think, is the last classic that Marvel put out. More recently, I think that earlier this year, they put out an omnibus, New Warriors issues 1 through 26, and there is a pre-order currently for issues 27 through 52. I might wind up getting those, just because I would like to keep reading. It's just, I don't want to dig through my boxes to find the original issues. If I can get an omnibus where it's easy just to read it all wrapped in one cover, then that's what I'll do. In here we get both the Sphinx and Terrax, and there's a couple of other characters as well, but I would really like Hasbro to finish the New Warriors team that they started. Give us the whole cast, but give us some of the bad guys too. I really want a Sphinx, no joke, and Terrax, who I missed the first time. I hope that they reissue, maybe related to Galactus, but oh, don't forget Silhouette. She's also vitally important, but we haven't gotten Vance yet. Speedball seems like an easy repaint. Walgreens is doing a Nova, but I would take his earlier costume with the brown shirt. Basically, these plus Silhouette. Please, Hasbro. So this is written by Nyciza with art by Bagley for all of the New Warriors issues, and then Steve Epting for the 2 issues of the Avengers. That was a surprise to me because I'm familiar with Epting's modern work, not his sort of Marvel art house style origins. So that was a surprise, like I said. Bagley illustrated a lot of my youth between New Warriors and Amazing Spider-Man. I still think he's great. I still enjoy his work. As far as the writing, it's a lot of soap, it's a lot of camp, but it's also a lot of fun. I enjoy this. It's hard for me to take my nostalgia out of it to recommend it to modern audiences, but I think, at least as far as I could tell, a lot of other comic readers don't have my issue with the writing style of previous eras, and they read stuff back from the 60s and 40s, and I have a pretty firm limit on the 90s. Anything older than that I just can't tolerate, but this is right at the edge. This is some of the first comics that I was reading, that I was buying on my own, and so I do have that nostalgia. It is still there, and I still enjoy it. And like I said, I'm probably going to wind up with that omnibus and reading 50 issues of this. So I'll give it a general recommendation and leave that up to you to decide. Like I said, I bought this a few years ago, but it was printed in 2011. So it might be harder to get at this point, but you could still check with your local comic shops. And like I've mentioned a couple of times, the omnibus, the first volume collecting issues 1 through 26, should be widely available, with a volume 2 coming out next year, I think early next year. So if you are curious, I recommend reading it that way, or I don't recommend this, but I guess you could also read electronically through one of the apps. Anyway, if you don't have a local comic shop, you can use this URL to find the one nearest to you.